We good?
Yep.
Okay, call the meeting to order at 6:08. I'm sorry, folks, we had a little technical difficulty. So we are here for the Sewer Commission public hearing for betterment regulations update and sewer assessment and user charge system regulation updates. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on these two issues?
Do we have to open the public hearing?
No, we
Do we
just
have to make a
did.
motion?
We just did.
No motion?
Nope.
Okay.
All right, hearing and seeing none. Just for the record, though, for the betterment regulations, we are gonna update sections 4.2.2.2, section 4.2.2.3, and sections 4.2.2.4.
I think there's some on the next page. as well.
No, it's the same
Oh,
one, I
okay.
believe, right?
Perfect.
Yep. And for so we're gonna update because of the ADU law, to correct our, not betterment regs, our, user charge system regulations, because, the new ADU law, to adjust for additional ADU. Would be, people would, an ADU would be an in-law apartment, basically. Okay, so with that, again, anybody wish to speak? I don't see anybody. So with that, I guess we'll entertain a motion to close the public portion of the hearing.
Motion to close the public portion?
All right, there's a motion to close.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Unanimous. Just for the record, I guess I was neglected that member Fred Peralta is with us by phone tonight. So with that, we're going to move into our regular sewer meeting. Item 1, citizens' time. Hearing and seeing none?
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to nominate you as chairman of the Board of Sewer Commissioners for another term.
I don't know if that's on the agenda.
First meeting after the election. I think Darrell, unless Darrell wants it.
We'll make a motion to put 4A at the top, just for time purposes.
Okay?
Topics that the new chair did not reasonably anticipate would be discussed.
All right. So there's a motion on the floor,
Second?
in a second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you for your, for your encouragement. All right, so moving on. Go back to item 1, citizens' time. Hearing and seeing none. Go to item 2, Phase 2 sewer project.
Okay, I have a couple of things.
Okay.
That's okay. So I spoke to the car wash. We had looked at their overage in actual flow versus bedded flow. And the gentleman was asking if he could do a covenant to do that privilege fee. The first time around, he did do a covenant, so this would just be setting up a second covenant for the additional privilege fee. But one thing I did want to mention is that he went back and he looked and realized there were some operational issues. The tunnel attendants were rinsing down the wash bays at night with fresh water, and they weren't aware of that. So they're going to be remedying that. He didn't realize, so because obviously that's using a lot of water. And also they're doing a lot more business than they had anticipated. So my only question to you is, before moving ahead with a covenant and the set privilege fee we had come up with, should we continue monitoring it for a short while and see if these operational issues make a difference, so that the privilege fee is accurate?
I would say so.
Yeah, I would think that's
I'd
fair.
agree.
I think that's reasonable, if you're okay with that. How long would you like to monitor it for?
How much did we do last time?
So the last time we did a year. Well, it was a little over a year, because they had started in October of 2023. It was like a year and a half.
So, yeah, I don't know.
Do you want to do a year's
I
worth
would
or
say
6
another,
months?
it's gonna benefit him, well, it could benefit him, could benefit us. I would say a year, it's good.
Okay. I'll let him know that
no.
we're gonna,
Yep, it may not. If he has more car washes in year 2, this could backfire.
However, I think we would be continually monitoring anyway. You know, we're doing that big project where we're looking at better flow versus
I see.
actual. So I think even if he did the privilege fee now and it continued going up and up, if it went into the next category of privilege fees, there would be, I think that would continue.
And it could stay the same.
Could stay the same, it could go down, but I think at least to give them the opportunity, now that they've discovered there's an issue there, to rectify it and see if that changes their flows dramatically.
Okay, yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything?
I'm fine.
That's fair.
Okay, so we'll do it for a year? Or is that what
Yeah,
you want?
yep.
Okay, monitor one more year. Okay, and then I add, you wanted me to contact Epigram, because they were also exceeding, but not by much at all. It was by 50 to 75 gallons a day. You just want me to put it out there to let them be aware of it and keep an eye on it? That if it went up substantially, they could have a privilege fee. What they told me was that 10 to 15% of the water intake shown on the reading reports never reaches the sewer system, because a lot of it is used in the making of the beer, and also some for evaporation. So, but they did say, with that said, they are going to be increasing their production next year. So what I recommended is they put something in writing showing us the backup calcs of where they're getting this 10 to 15%, so that we can have our engineers review that, and for them to come to a meeting and tell us what their plans are for expanding.
Yep.
And then that way, we can all kind of be on the same page with, when we look at those numbers and we monitor it, if there is a portion that our engineers agree is a good method that we can kind of keep in mind as we're tracking it, that it may not all be going into the system.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, when they're ready, they'll reach out and come to a meeting.
Perfect.
The only other thing under two was, so Woodard and Curran has done a peer review letter for 93 Kendall, and I have a copy for everybody here. And we had a phone call today with the representative and the engineer from 93 Kendall, because they're moving forward very shortly with their infrastructure on their site. And I don't know if Dan, if you want to talk a little bit about that, or Jim?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Dan should probably.
So, you know, we met with them today. We had a pretty, this was our second iteration of comments dating back to last fall. They sent us back plans. A lot of stuff wasn't addressed. On top of that, we just have general concerns with their design flow basis of betterment flow and peaking factor of 5, the way they derived that. And they're using a rectangular, like, septic tank essentially. So we're pointing them towards a circular wet well. They haven't selected their pumps yet either. So we emphasize to them, make sure that they're coordinating with a wastewater pump with their vendor. So there's a lot of coordination that still needs to happen, and we should definitely keep close touch with them as they get closer to make sure that the pump station's our biggest concern. A lot of the other stuff is ticky-tacky stuff that is important, but we feel confident they'll be able to address that.
Okay.
It's the pump station and the air relief valve manhole. We sent them over a detail of what our expectations are. Paul looked at it today. He's happy with it.
Who's their engineer?
Kelly, I think?
Kelly Engineering Group.
Anything else?
Just that we, Dan had asked Danielle from that site for replenishment for the escrow fund, because they're down now with this latest review. They're pretty, you know, they typically will give money in the 53G for Woodard and Curran to review,
Right.
do the peer review. So that is getting low. So once we get that check in, Woodard and Curran will typically just give us an agreement that you guys will sign off on. Just to, I would think that that would probably be before you can move forward with too much more of your review, because I know you're down to not much left.
So for the one lot they're looking to do, I think that's correct, right? Out of the two, they're looking to do
They're
one?
starting with lot 2, yeah.
So are they actually gonna put the pipe up to Middlesex, or are they just doing the pump station and leaving it there until they get a tenant? Or do you know?
Connecting into the gravity.
So they are connecting it? Okay. All right.
was thinking it was the one further up. Okay,
They said they should have an update on schedule of revised plans and a pump selection and all that soon, so we'll have an update soon.
perfect. All right, anything else on the Phase 2 sewer project? Okay, moving on, item 3, old business, Phase 1 west discussion, 50 Westford Road, anything?
Nothing new.
95, 97 Westford Road, mobile?
Nope.
Nothing.
Nope.
Okay, moving on, discussion on sewer garage, anything new?
No updates.
No updates. Item C, I program?
Okay, so, I sat in on an EPA webinar yesterday. So I just wanted to let you guys know, because of the capacity project, that there have been some changes to their terms and conditions. Typically, they update them every October. But there's been a lot of changes made since January of this year. So there are some changes that, I'll try to print that off of their website and forward that to you all, but you may want to relook at all the terms and conditions for the current project we're doing, because some things have changed. I'm
Okay.
sure you reviewed them back then, but they just
Okay.
wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, that there have been some changes. I think with some MBE, WE, and a lot of different things. So we can stay in touch about that. And then I think you might, if you have any updates on the project
Yeah.
itself.
So we installed meters at the beginning of April, left them in for approximately a month. We had about 6 inches of rain over the month, 14 wet weather days. So I think we got some good data, and we should be getting data back from Flow Assessment Services, our subcontractor, very soon. So we should have an update next month on really what we saw in the data. But the good news is it was a wet month, so that was
Good
the
timing.
first step in the right direction.
All right. Is that it for I?
Yes.
All right, future sewer phases, anything?
Nothing new?
Nothing? All right, item E, Flint's Corner Development?
Okay, so after the last meeting, Jack sent out an email to the attorney and the engineer letting them know that you all would like them to attend a future sewer commission meeting to provide an update and to have that draft MOU. So Jack had left it for them to coordinate with me. I haven't heard yet, but I anticipate them coming to a future meeting to bring you that draft MOU and have a discussion with them.
Are you guys familiar with that? That MOU that she's talking about?
I can
Yeah, I am not, but
Okay,
I
yeah.
will be up to speed.
and we can
Yeah.
catch up offline as well.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Great, thank you.
Corner. 4A, topic the chair did not reasonably anticipate would discuss. Anybody besides Fred? All right, moving on. New business item B, review and sign FY '26 engineering design contracts.
Yes, so
Do we have that with us?
I have it with me, yes. And I just wanted to double check, the rate schedule they give us for 3 years, beginning in fiscal '26. And this is for all work, correct? All projects, all work? Okay,
Yeah.
just to confirm that. Thank you. So that would be beginning, the current one ends June 30th, that'll be beginning July 1st.
Is
It's for a year, and then you have 2 options for year 2 and
Is
year
there
3.
any significant changes from the last one?
No, it covers all your general services, it covers your federal grant projects. It's the same qualifications from the last one as well.
All right, anybody have any questions on that? I just wanna, Jim, do you wanna give us an update? Seeing as this is in the middle of a changeover with employees, just so, we understand how we're gonna be moving forward, with the new folks?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So as you know, Jack moved on and to pursue other opportunities. And for, when it comes for all of our really good, important clients, we assign a client manager. And Jack was the client manager. So I am going to take on that role. I've been a client manager, I've been at Woodland & Company for over 20 years. Client manager, I have a number of local clients, Lowell, Lawrence, Methuen, Andover. I live in Lowell, so I'm real close. I can easily be here at all of the meetings. And and the goal is to have basically a seamless transition to provide service for you. I definitely do need, Dan is familiar with most of the issues. I don't know that you're familiar with everything. We'll definitely get up to speed on everything that we've been doing. Some of the things I think Jack would handle by himself, and so maybe Dan wasn't familiar with it. So in the next month, I'll get up to speed on everything that we were doing.
Yeah.
So you represent all those other towns, or just more in a capacity of consulting?
Capacity.
So you're not doing this for 4 other towns?
No.
Okay.
So it's the same role. It's basically the same role. Some of the communities, I work on water systems, some water and wastewater, some stormwater, so it's different for each community.
Okay. All right, welcome aboard.
Fred,
Thank
anything?
you.
Not yet.
I'm all set.
We need a motion to accept the contract, right?
To sign.
Oh,
it,
to
I
sign
would
it,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Motion to sign enter into the contract 2022-SCW-006 between Woodard and Curran and the town of Tyngsborough Sewer.
I'll second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. All right, welcome aboard, and hopefully
Thank
we'll continue with a smooth, well, not transition, but
As things come up, I can
Smooth as
certainly
things have
be in
been.
touch and we can go
It's not
over
a-
anything.
I need to know. That's,
Okay.
this is great. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Fred, you're gonna have to come in and sign this, see Kathy,
I'll be back Tuesday.
have, and I think you guys need to sign that as well, am I right?
Let's see. Yep, on that side there.
The date is the
22nd.
22nd. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, just a brief, I talked to Jim, the other day about flow, so,
Jim,
Bavard.
oh, okay, yeah.
Because I know that he has some connections in Lowell. So, well, we're in need of at least Chelmsford, increasing our flow through there. So I was hoping if he's gonna try to work on, try to maybe get it so that we can get an agreement that says we can increase our flow by whatever the number, even though we're not gonna exceed it tomorrow, it's gonna be in a good 10 or maybe even 20 years
Mhm.
before we'd even get to that point. But if we can move forward, knowing that we're gonna have that capacity, then we can deal with Chelmsford and get those pipes upgraded, but we can't do anything until we get an agreement with Lowell, that says we can, Lowell and Chelmsford. So if you could help us push that along, or do your best to, I know the EPA is, not killing us, but they're pushing that
Right,
combined sewer overflow stuff, but it's not us.
right.
It's Lowell. Actually, that came up at town meeting, although, dumping sewage into the river and all that, but it's not Tyngsborough.
No.
Tyngsborough has a closed system. All our sewer goes into the pipes, it goes to the right place.
So after we talked, I talked to the engineering manager at Lowell Wastewater today. And of course, he's well aware that you would love to get more capacity. No big secret. So they have a consent order.
Yeah.
The consent order, it does focus on CSOs, but there are other, and we're actually working with them to help them with their consent order.
Yeah.
So I got a copy of the consent order, and then you also have an intermunicipal agreement. All the communities do.
Yeah,
I've got a copy of that, so I'll take a look at that, and then we'll talk about that, and then probably reach out to Lowell, and I don't know whether it's negotiating with other communities, or I think there might be some communities that have a flow allotment that they may not need all of it. So I think those are some of the things you may want to explore.
oh, okay.
So,
Yeah, that's new, but I thought the biggest obstacle was the EPA, if I'm not mistaken. Is that-
so the
The capacity at Duck Island, basically, they're over, I mean, they're going over, of course, in big rain events, but
Just big, yeah, but they have, correct me if I'm wrong, right, there's capacity available, it's just when they have the big rain events,
so
they can't, there's no, they have to
The-
dump.
the intermunicipal agreement that all the communities that, provide sewage flow to the city of Lowell has nothing to do with the CSOs. I thought it might when we first talked,
Yeah,
but it's all based on the capacity, the dry weather capacity of their treatment plant. So the CSOs are not factored into that.
right,
So, which is probably a good thing.
good for us.
Yeah,
so.
exactly,
So,
because it's gonna take them a while to reduce CSOs. Now, today, there are CSO events in Lowell. Their system was actually designed for the sewage to overflow into the Merrimack River. That system was put in place long before there was a treatment plant in Lowell.
Right.
That's when all the sewage used to go right into the river. It's now they've improved the system, they built a treatment plant, they've increased the capacity of the treatment plant to accept more of this flow on a day like today, but it can't take it all. So theoretically, the small flow that you're sending to them today, and none of it is stormwater because you have a separate system, it does contribute a little bit to the CSOs. But there's no mention of the CSOs in the intermunicipal agreement. It's all based on the capacity of the treatment plant.
Right.
So I wasn't sure when we first talked, and I'll have more information, I've got to read both of those documents. I'll probably talk to Lowell again, just to get, and you see, I just want to, and they're very helpful, we'll do it like, kind of unofficially, what do you think about this? And then if we see that there's some avenue that maybe you could go down and entertain to,
Right.
whether it's talking to other communities or Lowell itself, so we'll be back to,
We'll get the discussion going again.
exactly.
I was gonna say, they're undertaking a big I&I program as well, multi-year, so that's not gonna be quick, but at least that should yield a fair amount of flow, because they've got some serious II issues.
So the big thing that they're doing is they are, in fact, we're actually helping them with their II program. It's probably not as aggressive as yours, because all their focus now is, they're gonna have to spend over $200 million on CSOs.
Right.
So that will reduce the flows, once they do that. And they'll tighten up the sewer system, they'll eliminate a lot of the stormwater that's going into their system. They just awarded a construction contract for the first sewer separation project. It's about $30 million, and that's just the beginning. So and that's in the Centerville section in Lowell. So the estimate's over $200 million that they're gonna have to spend in the next, say, 10 years. So, yeah, there will be a lot of improvements to their system, which is only gonna benefit,
Yes.
discussions with,
I wonder how that'll shake out with through Chelmsford and the pipe. I don't know how that'll work
Yeah.
out, but if we can get the conversation going again, that'll be
exactly.
helpful.
We'll get the conversation going,
Excellent. Thank you.
okay?
All right. Where are we at? Sewer Administrator's Report.
Okay, so there's meeting minutes to be approved from April 24th, both regular and executive session.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from April 24th as printed.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Make a motion to approve the executive session meeting minutes for April 24th as printed, not to be released.
I'll second that.
Motion is second. Further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
And I have some bills for you to review.
All right.
Here you go.
This is so, well, it's kind of big for being so small. What was Weston and Sampson?
What's the amount?
One's 27,000, the
Okay,
other's 30.
so that was Elm Street. Installed new check valves, demoed the old ones for both pump 1 and 2, removed the old pump, installed new ones. The parts themselves were like $8,100 on that. They also, on that bill, worked at Willowdale Ave to troubleshoot the VFDs and replace them with new ones. And they worked at Middlesex Road to replace the surge protection modules. So there was like a whole month's worth of call-outs and
Yeah.
work on that one bill.
Yeah, and then there's another one for 2,500.
3,200
25,
for Weston and Sampson?
yeah.
Okay, oh, that was Muscuppick and Failings? They had some call-outs for pump 3 had ragged up, and then
Yep,
there's
yep.
some starts.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, they bill
Oh, they're so
later.
late on.
And there was a lot of parts from that one as well.
Oh,
A lot of money in Elm
Nice.
Street. Jeez.
From which one? Yeah,
it's that engineer. I was just gonna say Petrini's bill's low this month, but it's, $625.75, but the next one is not so low. Next 2, 3, 4.
and one of them was for 18 Pondview. That was a high one because they did a lot of work in 1 month to get that summary judgment in and putting together a lot, but he did give you guys I believe it's a $2,500 discount off your bill.
It's nice.
Frequent flyer miles.
Yeah, with every 200,000 spent, you get 2,500 off. This is, I like that.
Oh, my goodness. Welcome to the show.
Hey,
Oh, well.
And also in those bills, there was a large one for Chabon. That was the 3 pump purchases that you guys had approved.
Yep.
That came through as well.
All right,
Oh, and could I,
that's it?
I have one other thing.
Yep.
So yesterday, I sat in on a webinar with Mass Clean Water Trust for the SRF borrowings, and our project that falls in there is the asset management plan. So we currently have an agreement with Woodard and Curran to have an asset management plan done. Even though we're not borrowing, because we have budgeted the full $250,000 in fiscal '26, and then they reimburse us 60%. But because it's a grant through there, we still have to do an application. And before Jack had left, he had said that Wood and Curran would handle that as part of the agreement. They would do the application, and I think they're due in October. So if you need any information on that,
the
just,
first thing on my agenda was, do you have an asset management plan?
okay, yes. So
And if you
I
didn't, we
believe,
were gonna apply for one, so,
Is her
no,
name
that's
Susan
great.
Perez?
Yes,
Yeah,
Chris
with
Perez.
Wood and Curran, yes. So
Yeah.
she had come to a sewer commission meeting last year, gave a presentation,
Yep.
and we decided to go with that. So we do have an agreement signed. If you don't have a copy of that, I'll send that over to you, because that really does detail all the work that you guys would be doing.
Yeah, I was part of the scope.
Oh,
of
you
that.
were, okay, I figured you were involved in that one.
So is this a $250,000?
$250,000 for what we've chosen to do.
Right,
Because I know there were different tiers based on how much
You
you
can-
wanted to have done, and
right,
for our needs, it wasn't exorbitant. We didn't need a huge
right.
involved one, so it's gonna be $250 altogether. We have to put that up front, and then we'll get the 60% reimbursed to us through DEP, I believe the grant is.
I don't know, I'm not sure you have to even put money up
I think we just have to show we have it budgeted.
You have to show that So you would need something in writing that says you have the funds.
Yes,
So-
so they were approved at last week or 2 weeks ago's town meeting as part of our fiscal '26 budget. So I think that, and I can get something in writing from our finance director, just
That's-
stating that, if that's
all
good
you need.
enough?
That's what
Okay.
you need.
Okay.
Do you know, I haven't seen the application, are there in-kind services?
Yes.
So, how much is the in-kind, so, in-kind services, do you remember?
I think they were like 5%.
Yeah, I think in the Woodard and Curran agreement, they actually
have that.
broke that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assuming there would be a lot of Paul's time involved in that.
Yes.
Working with you all to go through all the pump stations and the infrastructure. and
Okay, good,
So
good.
that, some of that we
Site
credited
visits,
to
yeah.
site visits and, yeah.
Because you have to put up 40% of the grant, but some of that 40% can be in-kind services. So the time that Paul spends on it, we track that, we keep track of that, and then you submit that for the reimbursements.
Yeah.
And so then you get reimbursed. And when we work with clients for these, we don't expect to get paid until you get reimbursed. So you don't have to pay us and then wait for a reimbursement. We'll apply for the reimbursement and then you pay us.
Okay.
So it saves you from putting money up or creating some kind of an account,
Okay.
so.
All right, is that it, Kath?
Yes, that's all I have.
All right, moving on, senior foreman's report.
So we got the generator installed over at Elm Street. He's got a couple more things to do on it. Should be up and running sometime next week, Tuesday, Wednesdays. So we'll get the portable back out of there. The other day, we had an issue over there. We had to replace a transfer switch. So just another, Elm Street won't let me go. It's just
Is that-
holding on.
Is that the day that,
Yes, that's the day that the generator ran, and everything was happy, but the transfer switch wasn't, so. Basically, everything's running pretty good. We're just doing summer work, maintaining everything, keeping everything clean. Can I talk about Vespa?
No, we'll
No,
do that in
fine, okay.
executive session.
So, yeah, that's all I have.
all right?
Did we have a generator allocated in this coming up budget, or at least money for
So
one or two?
for in fiscal '26?
Is it-
One a year.
Yes, yeah, we're
One
gonna,
a year.
I think you guys want to do one every year,
Or two if they're cheaper than the?
Yeah.
Whatever,
I
what did
tried
we do,
that with this
40,000?
40,000,
Yeah, okay.
which it was pretty close. to
Pretty
that.
close, but it wasn't close, yeah, wasn't enough, so
Yeah.
that's why I only did one.
Yeah.
I was gonna do Audrey Ave too at the same time, it just wouldn't, the numbers weren't right.
Depends on what size and,
Right, right.
yeah.
Well, Elm Street's, oh, you didn't do Elm Street?
Yeah.
We did Elm Street.
You said it's almost done, right?
Yeah, it's in, the old one's gone, the new one's
Right.
already in.
Well, that's an important one to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so basically Elm Street's gonna be upgraded 100%.
It's that extra socket that costs us the money.
What was that?
Extra stock. But moving on that one.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, correspondence,
no.
complaints?
I had a gentleman call yesterday, he lives in the Coburn, pump station area. And just to say that talk about the odor and with the warmer weather coming and wanted an update on the bioxide. So I filled him up to date on where we're at, I believe the latest is, Jake will be putting the bioxide system out to bid for procurement reasons. Right now, he was just waiting on specs to come in from, the person who had done them on some of the other pump stations we had, so that we have something similar to put out to bid. And so and then we've reached out to National Grid, as you asked us to. They actually need the electrician to pull the permit from them. I couldn't, get that ball rolling. I tried, but, and so it's in motion, but I did explain that to the gentleman, and I told him I would try to give him regular updates, but that in the meantime, Paul is doing everything that he can, whether it's odor blocks or anything else, knowing the warmer weather's coming, that he can dial up to try to keep the odor down at that station. And he had a lot of questions on the history of that line, and so I filled him in on all of that. So, that was really the only concerning call that we had with someone who was looking into something at this point.
All right. Do we need item 9, executive session?
Yes, but we'll go into, yes.
Okay. So, we need to, which one?
It's going to be for all three I would just say all three that are listed,
Okay,
just so we can do updates.
So make a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of agenda item number 9, all 3 items under 9, only to come out to adjourn.
All right, which, yeah, that's fine.
I'll second that.
Motion second, just,
Roll call?
no, hang on,
Oh, sorry.
Kath, 1 second,
I'm
just, well, we should just note that Pondview Place first is 1 litigation. It's also Town of Tyngsborough Board of Health.
That was the Pondview Place.
That's Pondview Place, Vespa,
Mhm.
and
And
was-
I think the fees was the first one, right?
no, I only see,
We're gonna,
yeah, just this.
to discuss privileged communication with council regarding fees for phase 1, East 3, and 5, because we're
Oh,
still
okay,
working on trying
fees
to
for
draft
each one.
those.
Okay, perfect. I didn't see that.
That's okay.
All right,
Roll
just
call?
for those, yep, go ahead,
Brian?
yes.
Fred?
Yep.
Daryl?
Yes.
So does this mean, all right, so we're not gonna take any votes, right?
There'll be no votes taken.
We're gonna
no.
come out for adjournment only?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you and good night.